Love is patience. So, you should just calm down, right? You should just, I don't know, let me do whatever I want because that's going to be loving, right? Well, let's talk about patience today, folks. We're diving right in. Welcome back, everybody. My name is AP Raleigh, author of Abide, and I make Christian content to help both you and me grow in our walk with Christ together. Now, we are talking about love. We're going to jump into this whole huge series through 1 Corinthians 13, trying to figure out what this word means. And there are right off the bat, there's three different kinds of love in Greek words. We're only going for one of those. So there's agape, which is unconditional. That's what we're going to be talking about. But there's also eros, which is where we get erotic. We're not going into that. And there's also phileo, which is brotherly love. We're not going into that. So we are trying to figure out, what does it mean to be loved unconditionally? How do we love others unconditionally? And the beauty of the Bible is it gives us this really easy definition that I think we've read off hundreds of times at events and weddings and all kinds of stuff. But how often do we sit down and take it from this beautiful piece of poetry that I can hang on my wall to something that actually matters, something that I'm actually pursuing and pushing for? Now, patience is something that I've actually talked on before. It's part of the fruit of the Spirit, which is even cooler that it is these facets of unconditional love are something that are also a part of God. And that, to me, the fact that I'm able to have this patience to show other people this kind of unconditional love because God loves me, is the coolest picture. But this word here, this patience, is we start off with love is patient. Now, what in the heck does that mean? Because I've heard that weaponized before, and I've heard it in good and bad ways. And in fact, there are times when I know it's helped people, me specifically. I know there are times when I was awful, especially growing up, and my parents were patient with me. And because they were patient in that level of love, I was able to figure out what I needed to. And in that, found my way back to God. So there is some good to this, but there's also this point where it gets weaponized, and that's not really useful. So what is patience? Patience is not getting angry. See, because it's all right that even in love and when we love others, we can still be angry with them. We see God, who is love, literally get mad at people all the time through the Bible. How is that okay? How is he being patient and still being fully loving? Well, patience is waiting for the appropriate time to get angry. It's pausing. It's understanding that every little circumstance, every little problem that's going on, every single issue, it's not that it doesn't need to be addressed. It's not that something doesn't need to change or whatnot, but does it need to be explosive? No. And does it need to elicit this internal rage within us? Probably not. See, more often than not, I've seen that Jesus is able to be calm and peaceful with people, especially when they don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. And, if we want to love people, imagine the last time somebody did something to hurt you. Now, did they do that intentionally or not? More than likely, it's not. I know when we're younger, it's a lot more common for us to just pick and poke just because we can. But say you're in a work scenario and you've got a coworker that said something that was offensive. Do you think they legitimately wanted to hurt you? And that was their intent. And maybe it was. And you know what? That is an appropriate time to be angry. But more often than not, we end up having these little points of hurt. And instead of choosing this unconditional love where, hey, I'm going to take a step back, try to understand the situation, try to understand what's going on so that we can have mutual understanding. We can have peace. This, at no point, just because you hurt me, does that mean that I need to hurt you? Let's stop the cycle. So when we come back around, what does this look like in love? This is not just a relationship thing. But I do find that the couples that have been together for the longest, they've got those little squabbles, those things that they just, can't get over that one fight. I always joked I found every marriage had one fight. There's always one that they just can't get over, and there's always that one point. And this isn't just about marriage. This is about friendships. This is about everything else. But we find that there are these topics that people can poke, and we are unable to wait to be angry. We're unable to be patient. It's just fly off the walls immediately. And if we want to be truly loving to people, what I'm finding is it's not stuffing that down. Because if I take that emotion, that anger, that hurt of whatever's going on, because whatever's happening probably is a real issue. It's probably some area of hurt that is so deep we can't just throw it out the window and call it a day. This is something that's a long-term effect. So the only way for us to get through it and to address it, well, I mean, we can go off on them right away, but they're not going to understand either. It's perspective. And frankly, that's the cleanest, nicest, easiest thing. I've been working in my personal life on this theory, trying to understand conflict and how to deal with it, how to resolve it, how to address it. And the more and more I got into it, the more I realized that 9 out of 10 times, all we're doing is failing to communicate. And this is really easy to fix. All we have to do is communicate. And I got in a fight with a friend recently, and we came back around to it afterwards and tried to do this thing where instead of being angry, instead of attacking one another, instead of just demanding our way, we tried explaining our perspective. The amount of growth in that relationship, the amount of love that pushed through, the amount of trust and respect there is now over a minor issue is incredible to me. I couldn't believe how much that grew the relationship. So this week when you're going out, I want you to try this patience. Find these moments where it would be so easy to explode, and we're not going to stuff the emotion down. We're not going to pretend like it doesn't exist. We're not going to ignore it. We're simply taking a pause. And so try to take that pause and understand that in itself is a facet of loving others. So if you want to love others holistically and you want to feel that love in return, because you start to attract the things that you're putting out. If you want that, then start taking pause in those moments. Allow the situation to exist. Seek out and try to find the perspective, your side to be able to explain to them, and their side to be able to understand for yourself. And in that, choose to grow the relationship intentionally. I hope this helps you. I hope this has allowed you to grow a little bit. And if you are interested, please check out my latest book, Abide, available on Amazon.